Okay, so let's see what you came up with. Hunor, good luck. What's your target market?
Yes, so market covered is for Romanian automotive companies, would be because there are few. In early stages, it would cover a small number of devices, so specific devices that I would be covering for that, like demonstrators. And later on, it can extend also to OEM automotive manufacturers within European Union. To
Okay.
do projects with them. Yes.
Okay, again, of course, it can. I would rather you focused on the Romanian producers.
What is?
Again, if someone from another country comes to you, of course you will do the project, but I would imagine that you would be focusing firstly on the market from Timișoara, because Timișoara has a lot of automotive companies. If you want to say Romania, okay, fine. Considering that it's companies, it's not people, I would say that it should be quite easy to make a list of them. You can just search for the Cayenne, the Nace class of the automotive field, the classes, and you can make lists of all the company within those economic fields. And of course, as the lists are not that large, you could and you should even contact them one by one and propose to them deals. So I would say it's feasible. Okay, Ramona Popescu.
Yes, hello. I was thinking about for my camping for families with children in the
Rue de Mori.
Sorry? Yes.
It's in the Rue de Mori
Camping,
area.
Yeah. In the geographical area of Hunedoara. Ages between 25, 45 years with children, okay? Families that like winter sports, and in summer, families that prefer mountain holidays instead of sea, and they like to spend time in nature. And the level of income should be between mid-high level, because winter sports and everything, it's not so cheap.
Okay, fine. Cristian Pânzaru.
Yes. So my business idea is to make like a functional training facility in Timișoara, basically like a gym, but like a big functional area, not with the standard machines. And the target market would be athletes, professional but also amateur athletes looking to exercise in order to improve their performance in their sport, and also trying to make injury prevention exercise or rehabilitation from injuries. So also like physiotherapy and kinetotherapy exercises. People that want to do this can come here, and also places for powerlifting and weightlifting. So I thought of this because I thought I can't compete with traditional gyms, so I have to focus on what I think it's not that common in Timișoara.
Okay, I understand. However, I feel that there are a lot of groups there. You started by saying professional athletes. Let's break that down. Professional athletes, athletes like, for instance, give me some examples. In what fields? What kind of athletes?
Basketball, football teams could come and train there, for example. And I
To
said
train
both
there because I
professional and
imagine
amateur
that professional basketball players I would imagine that they have their own gym, their own club. Would they need to come there to train?
Not necessarily. I mean, the first league in basketball, they train at Olympia gym, but if you take like smaller ages, smaller groups, they're not that well funded. I mean, they have I used to play also basketball at CSS at the local team, and the gym from there is not that good actually. I think it would be very beneficial if they had something better.
Okay, so you are saying that apart from their official training, they would be coming here separately, individually to train, but wouldn't they be coming to train in weightlifting? And you say that you don't really have machines there. What would they need? Because of course they have, even they have their training at their gym, so they would be coming to you for what kind of different training?
Well, it's a bit different than the conventional gyms. You also have weights, but you don't have the standard machines, and you have more space. Like conventional gyms, they have
So you
functional
imagine just
areas.
free weights,
Yes,
not machines, but free weights.
yes, more free weights and bars for pull-ups and
O-
this sorts of body
Okay,
weight
I understand. So
exercises.
isometrics.
Yes,
So
also.
apart from these athletes, which of course they aren't a lot in Timișoara, you said amateur athletes. This could be very broad, this group. Can you define it a little bit more?
So anyone who is practicing a sport, whatever that is, basketball, football, it can be anything, and wants to train more to improve in that sport, not for the what most people go for, just increasing their muscle size or just looking fit. Is more functional training.
But
I'm
that
saying
would
this
mean that,
because like I
yes, please.
saw in most gyms, they do have functional areas, but they are very small usually, and most of the time they are filled with some classes, and you cannot go there. So this is what I'm personally missing, and I think other people might too. And this was the initial idea.
I understand what you mean. That's interesting. The fact that you say that this is what you are missing. This brings me to what I was saying at the beginning. Be careful. Just be sure that the target market feels the same way. One opinion is not enough. If I would give you, for instance, my opinion, for sure it would not be enough. Me, for instance, I've also been to several gyms. During the last years, I've been to the Smart Fit from the Buziaș area. Now it's not a Smart Fit, it's World Class. So I left. But there they had a functional, as you say, area. Yes, there were classes sometimes, but it wasn't bothering me that much. I was able to do whatever I wanted to do most of the time. So people could have different experiences. Therefore you should know them a little bit better. Other people, of course, they might fit this definition of amateur athletes. I mean, for someone that runs, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a week and does isometrics maybe 2 or 3 times a week, would you call him an amateur athlete based on your definition? Or must he be in some sort of a club to call him an athlete?
No, yes, I would include that.
You would.
Yeah.
Because of course many of these would never go to the gym, and others maybe they have some equipment at home. Most particularly those that have houses may have in their garden bars for isometrics. So again, I'm saying that maybe this would not be applying to all people. Then it could also be dependent on age. I'm not sure. There are people that run 5 times a week, but they are maybe 70 years old, and maybe, I'm not sure, maybe they're not going to the gym. So I like the field. I use a lot of my time also for these activities, because I feel that for all of us working at a desk, it's required after a certain age. It's not an option anymore. You have to run, you have to do many things. But I feel that you have defined the market a little bit too wide. You should narrow it down. Maybe on one hand, you should consider the area, because I'm not sure that anyone would go from one part of the city to the other part just because you have a gym with nothing really specific about it. So if you plan to offer a service that no one else has, maybe you could be targeting the entire area of the city. But if you don't offer anything in particular, you only offer things that more or less other gyms have. I don't really understand why you would be targeting the entire city. I would think that you would target a certain area and you would place the gym there in that area. So I'm not sure. Maybe you thought about it more than you have told us right now. Please try to give it a little bit more sense, a little bit to focus it a little bit more.
Okay, yes, I understand, and I agree with the fact that maybe some of these people, they can get by not going at the gym, actually just doing some exercise at home.
No,
But
this is my point, that you have your perspective. I have my perspective, but me and you, we are not enough. We are not the market. We might be part of the market. Me, for instance, I've quit going to the gym about a year ago. I built, I bought much equipment. I have it at my house. I built bars for pull-ups and such things. So I'm doing other things, but I'm not relevant. Not just myself. There are others that do the things the way you said it. So my point is that you have to find that segment. Because if you just say people that run, I run 3 times a week, I do boxing maybe 3 times a week, I do other things, but what you have described would not be at this point fit for me. Others do the same as me. For some it would be excellent. My point is that you have to find those that your idea would fit. So this is why you should narrow it down a little bit more. That's my point.
yes. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Vanda Pavel.
Hi, I hope you can hear me well because I have some background noise.
Yes,
Okay?
we can hear you.
Okay. So I really just started to work on my idea of the paper, so I didn't go such in much depth, but I would like to implement the project of making a land refresh, so a restructuring of the networking system at Julius Mall Timișoara, which includes the mall and the UBCs also. In this idea, this includes replacing outdated cabling, upgrading network hardware, and ensuring the transition to a more efficient and scalable network system. So it's like a modernization to improve connectivity, security, network performance, etc.
So your
And
clients would be who?
in this project, there will be Julius Mall, the shopping city, and also the uh, office spaces in the mall, the United Business Center offices. So everything that's at Julius Mall and its surroundings that uses a local area network.
Okay. I don't really have a very clear view, but I'm waiting to see your project.
Okay.
I would understand. I would imagine more if I read it in detail.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's go further. I'm projecting my screen again. And I'm going back to the structure of our feasibility study.
Can I
Let's
just
say
ask
that,
one more thing?
yes, of course.
Can I have, for example, two segments, two different market segments that I target?
Yes, you
Because I
can, of
don't want
course.
to limit myself. I want to do also, for example, for powerlifting, I meant like that you can drop the weights, something that you cannot do at the normal gym. So I'm offering something that you can do at normal
Okay, I
gyms,
get it.
but I also want to target the, I don't know, the basketball teams, for example, to do some contracts maybe with them to come once a week. So can I include all of this?
Yes, yes, yes. You can have maybe 2 or 3 segments, of course. So you would have a target market, but once you analyze it, you get to the conclusion that, of course, the individuals within the target market are not identical. That's not a big surprise. Of course, ideally, a company would be able to offer a specific marketing mix to each individual customer. Sometimes this is possible. Of course, there are companies that only produce by order and do custom made products. But in most of the cases, this is not how things are being done. So, what do? Do you create a single type of product or service, a single marketing strategy for everyone? And in doing so, of course, that would not fit everyone within the target market. Or do you try to have one for each individual, which in many cases it's impossible? The good news is that in most such cases, if you analyze the target market, you come to the conclusion that okay, indeed they might be, I don't know, 100,000 people in your target market. They are different, but if you group them in maybe 3 or 4 segments, you notice that the people in those segments can be, well, they can be grouped so that they wouldn't be that different from the points of view that are of interest to you. So you can create, of course, on your paper 3 or 4 groups that are similar enough. They are not identical. I mean, the individuals within a group. They are not identical, but they are similar enough in terms of what they want, the prices that they would pay, the way they obtain information, and the way they buy the product or the service. So that way you can establish a marketing mix, a marketing strategy for each segment, different from that of the other segments. So yes, of course you can do that. I believe you also talked about physiotherapy. We, the university, had several companies that we have financed in this field with services in the field of physio or kinetotherapy. Usually, there the people who are basically patients, they are being sent by doctors, right? Maybe we are talking about people that have the car accidents, or maybe about athletes that have had accidents during training or during sports games. So they have to recover. In many cases, they are being sent there by doctors. Okay, So coming back to what we have to do. Once we have identified the market, 3.1, now it should be able to analyze it. Of course, the analysis has the purpose of, in the end, creating the basis for our marketing strategy. So there are many ways in which we could try to analyze the market. Of course, you will find statistical data either on the internet, either published by different institutions. For instance, there is the INSE, Institutul Național de Statistică. There are many other institutions at the national, and at the European level. So you can find statistical data. You also can find reports. There are consultancy companies, for instance, that do analysis for different markets and publish them. So you can use that as well. Just make sure that you understand them. Make sure that they are specifically made, that they specifically cover your market and not some general market. And just make sure that they are right, because you will find over the internet many opinions, but they are not based on anything. On one hand, the market is not really defined, and then the opinion is not really based, as I was saying, on anything. There's no statistical data, there's no methodology, they just have opinions. So I would say that it doesn't help us that much. I would rather avoid those. Now, other possibilities. You can organize a focus group. Now, this is doable. We've done it in the past, and I would encourage you to even do it with your colleagues. How it works. For instance, us at the university, we have a project now for students during their bachelor's degree studies, and we are trying to match them with companies from the local environment. In a first stage, we need to organize several focus groups with people from companies to see what kind of problems they encounter, problems that our students could help with. So we will be doing this the following week, and this is being done quite often. Usually a focus group is organized with somewhere between 8 and a maximum of 12 people. Usually for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, rarely more than 2 hours. And of course, you usually have a plan with different subjects, and you try to debate them, and you try to let the people, of course, the member of the groups, you try to let them express their opinions. And you usually record the discussions, and later on you use their opinions to evaluate these subjects as part of the market, supposing that the people that you brought within the focus groups would be part of your target market. This is what you should be doing. Now, we've played like that in the past, especially online, so you could do it too. It would not be that hard. One of you could present his business like you already did, in fact. Let's say your colleague with Cristian Pânzaru, you had the project with the gym. You could present your business idea, and you could ask us some open questions. I don't know, for instance, how often do we go to the gym, or how much do we usually pay for a subscription to the gym, or what kind of equipment are we usually using when we go to the gym. So you could be asking a few questions like that and give us time to answer. And maybe we would answer each of us through the chat. And you would be just recording or copying the text from the chat, and you could use them later on to create an idea about the market. Of course, that if we were part of your target market. But to be honest, of course, in the end, for me, it's less important for you to do the study. Of course, in practice, you should do the study, you should apply directly on the people or individuals that are part of your target market. That's the point. But in the end, we are not planning to start these businesses for real. This is a project that gives you the basis to understand and to learn. So it would be much more important for you to have the opportunity to organize a focus group, to process the data, and honestly, less important if the members of the group are really from the core of your target market. The exercise would be almost just as good. So I would encourage you to do it, but that's not even the main instrument that I'm proposing. Other possibilities. Of course, you could organize interviews. I'm not really recommending you to do it. I've done it in the past in practice, but I don't really think it's a good idea now. Maybe for the colleague that is targeting the companies from the automotive field, because in this case, if he really were to do the study on the representatives of these companies, it would be difficult to organize a focus group with 10 people from 10 different companies, or to even do a survey on them. They would probably not respond very well. But interviews, he might have a chance. If he knows maybe 2 or 3 people from 2 or 3 different companies, he might have a chance of doing half an hour interviews with them, writing down what they say, asking them some important questions. But generally speaking, again, it's possible to do interviews. I've done them, I've used them in the past, but I'm not expecting you to do them because, again, it would take time, and you would, even so, you would not be able to do many of them. And if you only have 1 or 2, it helps. The opinions of others will be honestly more important than our own, because again, we are not in the position of being customers for our business. So it helps, but that for sure would not be the main instrument that I'm proposing to you. By the way, let's take a second. Please don't forget to register yourselves for the practical part, for the seminar. Or have you done it already? Please don't forget to do it. You have until 1950 to register. So don't forget it. So coming back to the instruments that you could be using. Nowadays, the marketing companies like to create personas, users personas, basically profiles for possible customers. For instance, in the past, I've organized the cross, I think that's correct in English, the cross of the Faculty of Economics, running races. I've done it in 2017 when the faculty got to 50 years old at its 50 years anniversary. So it was met as an event in particular to celebrate and to promote the Faculty of Economics. I've done it because I was into running myself and I thought it would be a good idea, and I thought that maybe in particular for our students it would be important to stimulate them to run, because in our field of work we usually work behind the desk, and in time that starts to create problems if you don't have any fixed physical activities. So I've organized the cross in 2017, and of course one important question for me was, what's my target market with this service? For sure, part of the market would have been the students. The faculty has, I would say, about 5,000 students, bachelor's degree, master's degree, and PhD. But on the other hand, I knew that most of the students don't run. I tried it in the past to create groups and to run with them. Most of them don't run. So automatically, most of them would have trouble running even maybe 2 or 3 kilometers. Under these circumstances, in particular, to be recognized also by the public, I thought that I would also need to target the runners that do this on a regular basis. In Timișoara, there probably are around, well, I'm not sure, but I would say around maybe 5,000 people that regularly attend crosses, races within the western region of Romania. I know some of them with me attending myself to such races, but automatically I know that they have a very different profile. They would not come to run for 2 kilometers. They usually run maybe 10 Ks, maybe 21 Ks, maybe marathons, maybe ultra marathons. So you can see my problem. If I'm targeting students, I should plan for races of maybe 1 or 2 kilometers. If I'm targeting people that run on a regular basis, I would need much longer races. So how can I target all of them? I need to see them as different segments, you see? So in such cases, many people use, as I was saying, profiles. One way to go would be even to start from the social networks. I can make a list of races that are being organized within the region, and all of them are being promoted usually on Facebook or Instagram, but usually Facebook. So it would be easy enough to go and check who are the people that are followers, who are the people that seem to be attending these races, check their individual profile on Facebook, I mean, and try to create several representative profiles in terms of maybe age, in terms of where they work, in terms of how many times they run a week, what distances they run, things like that. So you get to maybe up to 3 or 4 important profiles. And then you know who you're targeting. You have the profile of the maybe young 25-year-old man that runs 10 Ks, that works in a multinational company, that usually attends races with his colleagues, who I can find maybe on TikTok or on Instagram, and automatically I can develop a marketing mix particularly for this kind of profile. So you can do this as well if you want to, but among all the different things that you could do, what I want you to do would be a survey, a questionnaire. So it's less important on what kind of a platform you use. My suggestion would be for you to simply use the Google Forms, but you can use whatever you want. In the past, of course, I'm thinking about I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, and even earlier, there was no possibility of applying, of doing surveys online, I would say. So you were forced to do them, print them on paper, the questions I mean, and go on the streets, go on events, obtain permits, of course, beforehand, and approach people, which is difficult, not only because it takes time, not only because you need a lot of people, not only because you have to transcribe the responses then in maybe Excel or who knows what other type of application to process the data, but from the psychological point of view, I would say in particular, because when you approach people that you don't know, after not so many approaches, it's getting harder and harder and harder. It drains you from your energy. So being able to do the surveys online is really, really, really of much help. You can reach for sure a lot of people faster with much less effort. And you can also target people many times better, in many cases better, because honestly on the social platforms, it's often easy to define groups that you are targeting from all the perspective that we are talking about, based on region, based on location, I mean, based on age, and in particular based on interests, which is a great deal, which is something that you many times you could not do without the social platforms, I would say. So from my experience, I mean, you can do things different if you want to. From my experience, I usually try to limit the questions to a smaller number. Usually, I try to prepare 8 questions, basic questions, 2 for each of the policies within the marketing mix. 2 questions for the product policy, 2 questions for the price policy, 2 questions for the promotion policy, and 2 questions for the placement policy. If from 2 I get to maybe 3 in at least some cases, and in the end I get in this manner to maybe 10 questions, and then at the end I add maybe 2 or 3 questions concerning the profile of the respondents, I generally think that would be okay. So I usually build questionnaires of 10 to 12 questions. I'm suggesting you do the same. Now, about the questions, please let me know whether you've ever used questionnaires before. By used, I don't really mean fill the questionnaires. If you've made them and send them online to people to respond to them. Do you have any experience with that?
Yes, I have done.
Only just briefly at the workplace.
Briefly, Ramona Popescu has done it. The others?
We are doing that for the dissertation, some of us.
You are doing it for the dissertation. And Cristian Pânzaru? Not with us anymore. So listen, just to make sure that we are on the same page, and of course for the others that are not attending today, as long as I'm registering, I want to show you real quickly what I would do. Again, using a Google form, you can use many other platforms. I will go in my drive. And I would create a new sheet, a Google Sheet, I mean. And from here, I would go to Tools, create a form. Of course, you can add text explanations here. Of course, you can add pictures if you want to. It's up to you. It's very easy. If you should not know how to, you can write me a message anytime you want to. But again, it's very easy. I don't imagine it could be a problem. And then you start. Already you have here the space for the first question. Let's say question 1. What should I ask them? If I want to ask them something about the product, so the answers to this question should help me develop the product policy, should help me get to a list of products on one hand, and to characteristics, to technical specifications of the product, of course. I'm sorry?
Yeah, would you be interested in the product or something like this? Or it's not a good question for a specific product?
Yes, of course. We could ask him directly if he would be interested in the product.
This way it validates or it invalidates the necessity of the product or the rest of the questionnaire, I would say.
Yes. I would argue that it would be great if we would try to think about different ways of asking the question. Because, for instance, let me give you an example. Let's say that you ask me, how much do you believe that, how much would you pay for a Ferrari? I don't know. I don't even know the models. I have no idea. And I might be saying 500,000 euros. But you know, you're not really interested in my opinion concerning the price. You're interested to see what's the price that I would be willing to pay. On the other hand, I drive an old car. I would not be thinking about buying a new car, for sure not a Ferrari. So I would never buy a Ferrari. So does that answer help you? It doesn't. Let's say that you are selling leather shoes, and in the same manner you would ask me, okay, this is look at this pair of shoes. How much, in your opinion, how much would it be worth, or how much would you pay for it? And if you ask me like that, I don't know, I might say, okay, that might be worth maybe 200 euros. But if you were to ask me, how much did you pay for a pair of leather shoes last time that you bought one? maybe I would answer 75 euros. Maybe I never buy more expensive shoes. So you're not really interested in my opinion concerning your product. You are interested to see what the price that I'm usually paying, that I'm willing to pay is. So this is why you should always be careful about the way you configure the questions. In this case, I wanted to point out that it's easy to ask him what his opinion is, or how frequently he would buy, whether he would buy or not. But rather than ask him whether he buys donuts or not, whether he would buy donuts or not, I think I would rather ask him how frequently did he buy or does he buy donuts at the present time, or when was the last time that he bought donuts. I would ask him maybe something like that in at least some of the cases. So just think about the questions a little bit more because of this. So again, yes, I can ask him, do you like donuts or not? But it's a very simple question that maybe doesn't really help me that much. But maybe I could ask him, as I said, what's the frequency with which you usually buy donuts? How often do you buy donuts?
Nu cred că mai văd soarele.
Now, of course, for such a question, I could prepare it as a short answer type of question. I can let him just answer, but maybe some of them would answer often. Others would say not often. Others would say twice a week. Who knows what they would say? So it might be difficult later on to interpret their answers and even to scale them and to be able to process them. On the other hand, if you ask them to write, of course, you will lose many of them because they don't want to lose energy and time to write. So it would probably be better to create options. Now, when you create options, you also should be careful about several things. On one hand, you should make sure that you put there all the options available. In the sense that, I don't know, going to the gym, me and Christian, maybe we have our own routine, but we don't really know the needs and the routines of others. So if we only know what we are doing, we might be tempted to only put there maybe two options. But in this manner, we might be leaving other possible alternatives out. And there might be people within our target market that will not find their answers there, and they would not be able to answer. So we should avoid these mistakes. How do I know what the alternatives are if I only know my side? Well, this is why organizing maybe a focus group before doing the survey would be of help. Maybe by talking to 10, 12 people would give me at least the main options, and in a later stage I could put them in the questionnaire and apply the questionnaire to many people. If I don't do that, of course, at least I can try to talk to people. I can look over the internet to read the comments of people within my target market. That for sure would be of help. Another thing that I could do would be to check the websites of the competition, the competitors. I might find different alternatives there. In particular, in regards to the types of products, because in the same manner I could ask him what types of donuts is he buying, but I don't know all the types and all the groups available. But if I would watch and if I would check the offer of my competition, of my competitors, of course that would give me a very good starting place. So coming back, let's say, how often do you buy donuts? Never. Never. Rarely. Once a month. Or 3 times. Once a week. Almost every day. Now, you should take care. You should see that you cover all the possibilities. You might say that I have not done that 100%. So just to be sure, I can insert here the option other. And if any of these defined options doesn't fit him, the respondent, he could choose a different one and explain it. So let's say that is good enough. Now, yes, I can ask him about the type of donuts that he prefers. But again, I can ask him many questions about the products. And I mean, I would like to ask him many questions, but on the other hand, his time and his patience is limited. So let's say that I will settle for a question concerning the different factors that determine him to buy donuts from one place or another. Now, of course, I can ask him separately. Is the placement of the donut shop, is the fact that the donut shop would be close to your home or close to your workplace, is that important to you? Yes or no? I could ask him like that. Or for other possible factors, I could ask him if the size of the donut is important for him, yes or no, whether the freshness of the donut is important, yes or no. But that would lead to me having many questions. It would be again difficult to convince him to answer. So maybe I can put them all together in a question of a different type. For instance, please evaluate the importance of the following factors. In your decision to whatever, buy donuts. One being not important, 5 very important. Donut shop located close to my workplace. Donut shop located close to my home. size of the donuts. What else? Freshness. Quality packaging. Quality service. On the part of the personnel, I mean. What else? Variety of fillings. Let's say that would be enough. Okay. So maybe a question concerning the price. What is the price that you paid last time for a donut? Again, I could ask him what, in his opinion, would be the correct price for a donut, but I feel that for sure in this case, to ask him what he usually pays for a donut or maybe what he paid last time would be more realistic. So here too I can use maybe option buttons. Let's say less than 2 lei, 2 3 lei, or 5, 6, 7. More than 7. Then concerning the promotion, I mean the way of obtaining information, it might be, maybe not entirely, but it might be less important for donuts. It might be more important for more complex products to see how they obtain information about the products before deciding to buy. You would expect that they would buy donuts wherever they find them, not necessarily going from one place to the other just to buy donuts. But, well, who knows? This was the third question. How do you decide where to buy donuts from? I search information on Google. On Facebook. I take into consideration the recommendations of my friends. I visit different to collect information. And others. Or maybe I could use this type of a question and let him select more options. That's 4. And let's have a last one. I could ask the respondent maybe his gender, if I would imagine that's important, maybe a level of income. What is the level of your individual monthly net income? Lay. Maybe leave it as an open question. Or of course intervals in this case as well. So once I have created the form, of course I must test it, but in the end I'm going to publish it. Let's see, anyone that has the link should be able to respond. Okay. And I'm posting the link in the chat. Please access the survey and answer it quickly, just to see how we can check and how we can process the responses, the data. I'm also going to post the link on our platform.
Done, finished.
Thank you. I can see the answers already. I'm also putting the link from the Google Sheet with the answers right here. Okay, let's see. So of course, each line represents a respondent. Now, you have many ways of processing the data. Of course, you can always go back to change the form. You can only go to the answer section, and yes, you can see charts. I don't like them. I never use them. I would rather do the charts, create the charts myself in the Google Sheet, or better yet, I can just download the Google Sheet as an Excel file, right, on my computer, and I can process the data in Excel, which is what I usually do. So it's up to you in any case. But what I expect you to do, each of you, is to do such a survey. Now, of course, ideally, it would be done on representatives or individuals from within your target market. But honestly, if the effort is too great, that's less important. What's more important to me is to see that you have this experience, you get this experience of creating the form, sending it, convincing people to respond, and then processing the data. I've been doing this with students, I don't even remember since when, for sure, during the last 6-7 years. And it usually was easy. I mean, in most of the cases, most students got at least 200 answers. So I'm expecting you to do the same. My suggestion is to start not necessarily, I mean, of course, it would be great. Each one of you could find different, I would do this. I would find Facebook groups with individuals that are part of your target market and ask them to answer the survey. That would be, I would say, a good way to approach it. If you believe that's hard, but it's not, I'm sure that it's not, because many others have done it in the last years before you. But if you find it hard, I don't have a problem even if you ask your friends from different networks, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp groups, if you ask them to answer, even if they are not part of your target market, let's say it's less important for this theoretical study. So I'm leaving it up to you. You can start, of course, with your colleagues and continue with friends, but you can also find groups on Facebook or on other social platforms and ask them to do the survey. Do you expect to have any difficulties here?
No, but this is rather concerning our projects, or for example, for my CNC, I don't know how it matches the.
You are right. Of course, you are not targeting physical persons. You are targeting companies. I agree. I was thinking about you as well. Do you have any context in the field? Do you have any chance of doing an interview at least with someone in the automotive industry?
I work in the automotive industry. I could ask my colleagues from there.
There
They
you go.
see
There you go. Yes.
the company feasible. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. If you can do maybe either maybe do 2 or 3 interviews with them. If it's not too hard, either maybe apply the survey on them possibly, but of course do one thinking about a company, not about an individual. It's up to you. Just make sure that you explain that in the project so that I would know, because if you do the survey on 3 people, of course I would wonder at that time, if I don't remember, I would wonder why you were not able to find more people to respond. Well, I would remember for sure when I will see the field of activity. So
Okay.
do it the
Understood.
way you want to. You can do a focus group with your colleagues if they are willing to do it. You can do 1 or 2 interviews if you would rather do that, or you can apply the questionnaire on them, maybe a bit more of them if you think that would be possible. It shouldn't be that hard because it takes them probably 3 minutes to answer. So I would imagine it would be possible. Okay.
Got it.
Now, of course, you process the data, and here within this section concerning the market analysis, you put the charts there and you explain the conclusions. Now, how many people should answer? Generally, I would expect at least 200 answers. Usually we have at least 200 when we do these studies with students, I mean. So
Okay.
I would expect about 200, but don't worry now. If it's not 200 and if it's 150 or 100, it would not be the end of the world. I just said that in most cases, when students post the surveys on their social platforms, usually within a few hours, mainly their friends answer and they get to at least 200. But my point is that it should be a certain minimum number, because if you only have 5 answers, normally there would be nothing to process. Of course, that's not the case for our colleague. He has a different situation. But for the rest of you, I would expect many more answers. Okay, so coming back to the analysis. Do the analysis within this part, and then there's one last thing I want you to do before before planning the marketing strategy. Do an analysis of the competition. Now, in the practical feasibility or studies or business plans, in so many cases, what I see is that they identify the competition based on the NACHE codes, the Cayenne codes, the field of activity, the activity class. So imagine that indeed you have a company that produces parts for the automotive industry in Timișoara with the NACHE code of whatever it may be, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know it. And what many would do here would be to just go online. Do you know the code by any chance?
No, no.
Well, it doesn't matter. Let's say it comes to mind for furniture, it's 3109. Let's say firme Timișoara Cayenne 3109. And you usually find platforms with lists of companies by the activity class. So there you go. But you can also find complete lists. So what they do is they generate such lists in a second, as I've done right now, and they say, well, this is our competition. However, it's often not right for several reasons. So let's say that I indeed produce furniture based on this 3109 class in Timișoara. And I'm trying to find my competition. First of all, I have to specify, of course, competition on what market. Of course, I'm talking now about the market of the finished goods, because at the same time I could be speaking about the market of raw materials, buying timber in this case, or I could be talking about the market for the labor force. It's a totally different thing. But again, speaking about the furniture market, are really all the companies in Timișoara with the same Cayenne class my competitors? It's not certain, because I may be producing in Timișoara, but it could be possible for me to sell maybe in Arad, right? Or maybe in China. So the other companies that are producing in Timișoara, some of them might be selling in Timișoara, others would be selling in whatever, Italy, some of them could be selling in China. My point is, it's not certain that the companies that are producing in the same place as me, the same types of products as me, it's not certain that they have the same market. And my competition is not someone that produces the same products as me. My competition are those that are fighting me for the same clients. So this takes me back just a little bit to the market. I cannot identify my competition without knowing the market. I have to first know the market, so the group of customers that I'm fighting for, and only then can I see who are the companies that I'm fighting with for these customers. Otherwise, it's impossible to specify the competition. Now, there are other reasons for which the approach is not perfect. Maybe, indeed, my field of activity is this one, 3109. But when I'm doing the research over the internet, as I did before, what I'm finding is companies that are listed with this Cayenne class as their main class. It's not certain that this is what they are doing. They might have this Cayenne class as their main one, but it's possible that at least some of them would not be producing furniture anymore. Or even if they still do produce furniture, it might be a secondary product. Maybe they are doing something different, you know? So at the same time, there could be many companies in Timișoara that are selling on the market of Timișoara. Maybe let's say that's my market indeed. But they don't have this 3109 Cayenne class as their main one. So I'm not finding them in my list. At the same time, of course, there are many companies in Arad, in China, in other parts of the world, producing furniture and selling it in Timișoara on my market. So they are not located here, they are not producing here. I'm not finding them within this list that I'm generating over the internet, but they are my competitions, my competitors. You see? Of course, even within the same Cayenne class, I could be producing furniture for a specific part of the market from Timișoara. Others could be targeting a different part of the market. So these are limitations of such an approach. However, of course, it can be a start. You can start from such a research. In the end, it would be great. Of course, you can also, when you present the competition, you can talk about the number of competitors. You can present the value of their sales, because you will be able to find it in databases, in particular online on such sites. Even if it will not be 100% accurate, it could be a starting place. So it would be interesting to include this or such an analysis within the feasibility study in this chapter. But another way to approach the subject would be to include a question in your survey. For instance, me, about the donuts, I could have asked a question maybe concerning the place where they usually buy donuts from. I could have asked them, where do you usually buy donuts from? Or maybe where did you buy donuts from last time that you did so? And maybe if I have 1,000 answers and I don't know, 500 of them say that they bought donuts last time from maybe Shopping City, from the mall, or from Gogoașa and Furiate, or whatever other donut shops there are in Timișoara, I have no idea. For sure, that would give me a good idea about the competition, because really what I see is the answer to the question, when these possible customers are not buying from me, where are they buying from? So I would say that this approach could be even more accurate. You could try it. So you can identify at least some of the most important competitors, and once you do so, do analysis of them. We are not interested in their rich history, rich experience. I mean, of course, that could be interesting, generally speaking. But we are really more interested in their marketing mixes, in their marketing strategies, because all this information about the market and about the competition, we are using it to develop our marketing strategy. So for this second part of the third chapter. So if you identify, let's say, 5 very important competitors on your target market, do a short presentation. You can include the value of their sales maybe for the last 3 or 4 years. That would also help us get an image concerning the evolution of the market. Who knows, you could, because you can find this information easily over the internet, of course, either on the website of the Ministry of Finance. There you go. If you go within this section, you can search for any company, either by its name and county, either by its QI, and you will be able to find information concerning the value of the sales or the value of the fixed assets. So that would give us a reference for our own investment. So I can check the data, the accounting data for the last years, right? I can see the value of the sales. I can see the fixed assets, the total assets if I want to, the number of employees. So my suggestion is to take such data, especially concerning the value of the sales, maybe for the last 3 years, because that would give us at least an idea about the dynamics, the evolution of the market. But apart from that, so this is a company that produces fruits in Periam. Probably if I search for its website, I would find one. Well, I hope, I'm not sure in this case, but I would imagine that in most cases we will find websites, and you will find information concerning the types of products, the prices. You could find information about the way that they are promoting, and even concerning the way that they are delivering the products. So information about their marketing strategy. So rather than simply copy paste information from their website, collect simple information about the product price, promotion, and placement policy. Of course, with the accounting, the information from accounting concerning the value of the sales and maybe the fixed assets. So enough, I would say, about the competition. Now for the last part, developing the marketing mix, the marketing strategy. Now, I don't believe I need to keep you for long here. For the product policy. So this is basically the result of everything that you are doing in the first part of the chapter. For the product policy, in the end, I want to see here in this section a list of products or services. So I want to see a decision that you will be selling this, 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 and this. I want to see the characteristics of the products or services clearly defined. And most importantly, I want to see the connection. I want you to explain in a phrase, I don't care. I want you to explain the connection between the list of the products and their technical specifications and the conclusions of the market analysis and of the analysis of the competition. Because the main problem, as I was trying to tell you, the main problem, I would say, in practice is that the marketing strategy is totally theoretical. And if they pretend, even if they pretend to do a market analysis, they don't link in any way the conclusions of the market analysis to the strategy. Well, that's the whole point of the analysis, to be a basis for the development of the strategy. So even if it's simple, I don't care. But I want to see that you have a logical connection between the conclusions of the market analysis and, of course, the analysis of the competition and the marketing strategy. You establish that you are going to be selling these products because that was the conclusion of the survey that you did. For the price policy, I don't want you to just say that you will be establishing the prices in the future. No, that's the moment to establish the prices. Now you are doing the planning. So rather than say, as most of them do in practice, that you will be establishing the prices based on the calculated production costs, based on the willingness to pay of the customers, and based on the elasticity maybe of the demand, based on the prices of the competition. No. Show me the costs right now. Calculate the costs and show me what they are. And show me how you plan to fix the prices so that they would be greater than the costs. And in this manner, by collecting the prices, you will be able to recover the cost and therefore recover the capital used to buy the resources that translated into costs, production costs. Go to the competition. Show me the prices of the competitors. Show me how you establish your own prices in relation to the prices of the competition. Go back to the data from the survey. Show me the conclusions concerning the willingness to pay of the people responding your survey. And show me how you take that into consideration. One thing maybe that could be of importance here. Mind you that we usually imagine that there is a negative elasticity between the selling prices and the level of demand. That means what? That means that we usually imagine that by increasing the prices, the demand decreases. That by decreasing the prices, the demand increases. That's not true in many cases. The demand is not always elastic in the negative way in relationship to the prices. There are many situations in which you increase the price, but the demand doesn't increase, or at least it does not decrease significantly. You decrease the price in the hope of elevating the demand, and it doesn't happen. So in many cases, the demand is not that sensitive to the prices. If that's the case, a strategy in which you say, okay, my production cost for the apple juice is whatever, 3 lei a liter. The competition sells the juice for 5 lei or 6 lei to the maybe for, who knows, 7 lei to the final customer. So I'm going to sell it for 5 lei. It's more than my cost, but it's much less than the prices of the competition. And that way I will conquer the entire market. But possibly the demand will not react to that for different reasons. Sometimes even the opposite might happen, because maybe the customers would be associating the low price to a lower level of quality. True or not, that's a different matter. But on a market where customers associate low prices with low quality, and that's the case for many markets, I should be careful about setting prices at much lower levels than my competition. And I am convinced that you can find many products that you buy yourself for which you are not able to properly objectively evaluate their technical specifications. I mean, I know for sure that for many products that I use, I'm not really able to evaluate them from the technical point of view. So if I have the choice of buying the same type of product from maybe different suppliers at different prices, different producers, different prices, in such a case where I'm not able to evaluate the product myself, I mean, from the technical point of view, I usually imagine that the producer and the supplier, they probably know why they are asking for more. They probably know that their product is of better quality, which is kind of sad because it might not be true. It's kind of sad because we are counting on the market economy and the consumer should be informed, should be taking intelligent decisions. But I would guess that most of us, in most of the cases, are not doing so. I mean, we can't. We are not able to know everything about every product that we are using. So please take that into consideration. You might even include a question in your survey concerning that. Maybe trying to evaluate the relationship in the mind of the respondent between the price and the value and thus the quality, I mean, of the product. So it's up to you. For the promotion policy, based on the survey, you should be able to identify the way the individuals from the target market get information in order to make up their mind for buying such products. I mean, do they take their data from Google searches? If so, then it could be a good idea for me to invest in Google search campaigns. If they search on Facebook, or at least if they are present on Facebook, they have Facebook accounts, it would be a good idea to promote my products and my company on Facebook. But who knows? Maybe they are younger and maybe it's just a hypothesis. Maybe younger people are not on Facebook, but maybe they are more on TikTok. In that case, do the promotion on TikTok. Make sure that you set the campaign when you do so that you target really the people from your market, geographical market, and well, of course, based on the other characteristics of the market. What else? Try to establish the message. Firstly, what are you trying to convince them of? Are you just trying based through your campaign? Are you only trying to tell them that you exist? Are you trying to send them information about the existence of your product? Maybe about the qualities of your product, the things that make it different from the products of the competition. By the way, maybe an interesting question to include in your survey would be concerning the reasons for which they buy whatever they buy, donuts or apple juice or whatever the product is. Why they buy it from wherever they buy it. So you could possibly ask them to explain, even in their own words, maybe, what they like about the donut shop where they usually buy donuts from. So that you would include those factors, those components in your marketing mix as well. At the same time, you can ask them what they don't like in donut shops. In that manner, you would be able to at least try to avoid those elements. And now coming back to the promotion, when you do promote, you could include in your messages that you have those things that they love, or you could, on the other hand, mention that the things that they don't like, that they don't exist there in your donut shop. And of course, for the placement policy, again, based on the location of your target market, based on their customs, where they used to buy from, you can develop your placement policy. So I would expect maybe a page for each policy, but concentrated information, always connected to the conclusions of the market analysis. That's the reason for which we are doing the market analysis, to be able to base on it the marketing strategy. So I would propose as a deadline the following week for this part, for the entire third chapter: the market identification, the market analysis, with of course also the competition analysis of the competition, and the marketing strategy. And I'm going to create a section on our platform to upload the feasibility studies with this third chapter filled in. Let's see here. Project upload part 2. The third chapter, market planning. And the deadline would be the 11th of April, 6 p.m. Yes, 6 p.m. One file, just the Word document. And that's it. I will also upload the recording of our meeting later on, once Google finishes processing it. So if you have any questions, please go ahead.
No questions from my side.
Okay. If you don't have any questions, thank you for your patience. If you should be having different questions later on, just write me an email and I will try to answer. But please start working at the survey so that you would be able to finish by the next Friday. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you again for your patience. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Bye.
Have a nice weekend. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.